I'm here with Fiona Treacy of Analog Devices. Fiona, hello.
Hello, great to be here today.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Analog Devices and Arrow and some of the markets they're serving. So Fiona, tell me, what are the key trends affecting the industrial automation market, and how is Analog Devices enabling these?
Yes, no, and that's a great question, I think, because there's a couple of really key trends driving the industrial automation market right now. There's things like sustainability, intelligence at the edge, so more and more sensors at the edge, and also this need for more personalized, flexible manufacturing. So if I kind of talk about each one of them a little bit in turn, if we want to reach our goal of net zero by 2050, then one of the biggest emitters of CO2 and usage of energy is actually in factories and buildings, commercial buildings. So they account for about 50% of all energy usage. And if you look at recent studies with the Paris Agreement and economic forums, they say 37% of conservation has to come from efficiency improvements, and that really plays into ADI technology and where Arrow can help us as well. So we have a lot of solutions that help optimize system performance, and that's all around the efficiency. And then if you look at intelligent edge, I suppose there's an explosion of sensors across the factory floor, and all of these sensors, we need to have more localized decision making because it's more efficient in terms of power consumption. And then we need to protect those edge devices with some leading isolation technology, and we need to connect them to the central control system. So some of our newer technologies, like our single pair Ethernet, for example, is really enabling all of those edge devices to be IP addressable, so we can actually configure them, reconfigure them, which plays into our personalized manufacturing. And I suppose the thing about personalized manufacturing is that it's no longer sustainable to make a bolt in China and ship it to Europe, right? Because the carbon footprint is just too high, right? Yeah. So what we need to do is we need to be able to make those devices locally and onshore some of that. And to do that, we need smaller batch runs, which means more flexible equipment. So things come in like we have ADI Trinamic, which has gripper tools and motor drive technology, so that you can have tool changing more efficiently on a robot, because there's going to be more collaboration between collaborative robots and humans.
Right. Cobots.
Cobots, yeah. And then there's things like with 60 gig technology, so where the tools are changed rather than mechanical connectors, but actually wireless coupling.
Oh, interesting.
So you can have much more changing of the tool chain, which makes your production system much more flexible. So I think they're the key three trends that we're seeing and trying to help our customers enable.
Now, at Electronica, there have been lots of examples of industrial automation.
Yeah.
And give me one or two examples of what ADI is doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you've given some examples already, but it'd be nice to just give maybe some specific things.
Yeah. So I guess some of the key areas, if you look at motor control, for example, there's a lot of new legislation around motors, and they call them these IE numbers or certificates, and they're going from, let's say, 1 to now a minimum standard in Europe is 2 and 3 and up to 5. That means all of the motors need to be coupled with variable frequency drives and dynamic matching of the load and the power to the motor. And that's all about smart motor control technology. We have an ADI Trinamic brand that's all about motion control, and we also have the world leading precision converter technology, so for sensing the current in the motors and the voltage. So that's one really good example. And I think the other really good example is in buildings.
Right, yes.
Whereas in buildings today need to be living, breathing spaces. So, we need the environment to be healthy, number one, and we also need it to be intelligent enough to understand who's in a space at any one time, and then to change the conditions based on that. So what we've been doing is working with some of our Ethernet technology, and like we have sensor technology like smoke sensing.
Yes.
It's one of the leading smoke sensors to prevent false alarms, so lost productivity through people exiting the building for no need. And adaptive spaces where we have AI at the edge, so we can actually control the blinds, we can voice control, we can control access. And particularly on COVID, who was in a space, we could optimize the space based on who was in and who was allowed in. And that's all through connected, intelligent building infrastructure.
There must have been an explosion of customers through COVID to look at all these sensing technologies.
Yes.
And smart sensing.
Yeah, smart sensing, exactly. And I think that's where, we were working a lot with Arrow, right? Because we weren't visiting customers weren't visiting us. And it's all about collaboration. And what we found is through Arrow we did a whole series of webinars, and these were all for our customers to help them accelerate their path to market. And working with Arrow now that we've come out of the other end of it is actually through now actual in-person seminars. We also have, Arrow have an excellent field team, and they're working in collaboration with ADI field team to actually help customers solve their problems in real time, and to also help with that partitioning of the system so that they optimize it for efficiency and power efficiency, because ADI now has a leading portfolio of power technologies, and we're working with Arrow to help our customers upskill in some of that power technology. Things like silent switchers, which help performance, or micro modules, which are complete proven systems, which really speed time to market and also miniaturize. So there's some of the
So you talked about time to market. That's obviously critical nowadays, and one of the things that comes over from talking to you and Analog Devices is about partnerships.
Yes.
So how are you working with, you already mentioned you're working with Arrow, but how does that partnership help innovate and get faster to market, faster time to market?
And I suppose through Arrow, they have a wonderful network of people on the ground, and I suppose working together, they're in with customers, ADI experts are in with customers, and we've got different domain knowledge, and we're putting that domain knowledge together to help solve the customer's problem. And what I think is really important with Arrow is they have a breadth of technology, so they can bring partners in beyond semiconductors. And a lot of systems, they need more than semiconductors.
Exactly.
They need connectors, they need design services, and Arrow now have e-input chips, which ADI have worked with very successfully, and I know a lot of our customers have worked with. And we've even created little media converter modules through a collaboration with Arrow and customers and e-input chips, and that was really where together we identified that customers, they needed to be able to convert from standard Ethernet to single pair Ethernet and back, and we saw that problem together and we solved it. So that's some great examples, I think, of how we're working as an ecosystem together.
That sounds pretty effective. Well, Fiona, thank you very much.
Thank you.